Showtime.
It's about that time.
Let's go.
You're right where you need to be. This is GCOM Radio.
Hardest radio station on the planet. Yeah.
Powered by Lyfeblood.com.
We certified.
And hosted by Nova Phoenix.
Give them that flavor.
Okay, all right. Yeah. Okay. We are back. We are on time and we are here. What is going on? Let me just fix my mic. I sound like a little distant. Oh, okay. I see. All right. I sound a little better now. Yeah. What's up, y'all? What's going on, man? I'm hot and sweaty. Just came back from the gym, man. I had to put it in. And getting some dinner ready. Seems like I'm going to have to do something for some dinner. Yeah, man, I wasn't even bothered. This is like a late night here, and I'm trying to punch it in and get this show in for you guys. But how was your week, man? Yeah, I know I've been doubling up. If you've been paying attention, I've been dropping shows a little late. It looks like it's back to back, but I'm trying to stay on top of things and get myself back on schedule. I'm having me a smoothie right now. The smoothie that I make is delish. With a little bit of with a protein shake in there. Yeah, man. It tastes good. So let's get the show on the road, man, because I got a lot of things going on. So I'm your host, Nova Phoenix, on GCOM Radio, on iHeartRadio. And we're going to come in with the first selection topic of the day, and that's Mayweather, man. Mayweather's been, I saw a little piece online, and the Mayweather's been fighting. He had an exhibition fight, I think in Japan or something. Beat the guy. It was pretty much an open and shut case. But, I was like, yo, why are fighters still fighting? I mean, Mayweather's lucky enough where he's the age in his 40s and he's 50-0, clean record. Not a lot of people can pump their chest on that or beat their chest on a 50-0 record. But Mayweather is still fighting. Mayweather is still fighting. I don't get why even in exhibition fights that he's still fighting. I mean, he's a rich man. You see, obviously, how Mayweather get down on flipping all them dollars, and I think on the last, I think I saw it on the IG post where he had his man helping him count money. I think he was in another country, but yeah, I don't even understand why fighters still fight. Now, I shouted out my man from Chuck Creekmer from allhiphop.com on Twitter, and he just simply said no, he got a $28 million bag and he went for it. And I'm like, yeah, but that's Mayweather. He's at a point in his career where he can make $28 million anywhere, because he built up a name. And doing these fights, I know he's doing what he loves. He's doing what he knows. But and it was a clean fight, not like it was a brutal fight. It was an exhibition fight, whatever it is. I mean, the guy got trounced easy. But at a certain age, I feel like whatever sport that you're playing, whether it's golf, I say golf, people do get hurt. The repetitious swings just hurt the shoulder, it hurts the elbow and the wrist and all that. I don't know about the hip. I ever heard about the hip, but when you play sports over a long period of time, it does work on the body. Of course, everybody knows football, that definitely takes a banging on the body. But after a while, you just you graduate to another level, and you did what you did. You're no longer in your prime. You're in your 40s. You got to give room for the younger generation, and it's an opportunity for you to get into other things. You're never going to just stop doing things. I mean, a lot of people done that, like Shaq and Dwayne The Rock Johnson, and so many other people. I was looking forward to Black Mambo. My man, Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant, rest in peace. And he was on his way, him retiring, and he was going to really take steps to the next chapter in his life. But everybody knows what happened. But I don't understand why athletes still do it. I mean, I don't know. I mean, to each their own. I'm not knocking it. I was just making an observation when I saw him doing that exhibition fight, and I'm like, why still do it, man? Because there's so many other examples where people are out there that's really they're getting a second wind in business. But hey, man, it is what it is. I just thought that was funny. The other thing that's wild, man. I was on Twitter. I was gonna fit it into the show, but I just really didn't have time to do it. I was gonna, type it in now, but I was like, nah, whatever it is. I saw something that was on Tezlyn Figaro. Everybody knows Tezlyn Figaro. She's on a lot of the conservative talk shows, and she gives a piece. She's neither Democrat or Republican. She's all for the people, for black folk, and that's what's up. I do support Tez. She's all about, as she says, pushing the line. You know what I mean? Getting what we need as a people in this country. And she shared a video on her Twitter, and it was this. I was gonna like download the clip and play it for you guys so you know what's going on. But I guess it's out there. You can go to Tez's page on Twitter, and it was this clip talking about how it was. I don't know the woman's name, but she was Latino. Maybe I could find it on Twitter right quick. If I can't play the vid, let me see. There you go. And it got a little play. It got a little play when I tweeted it. It got a little play as far as it got around. And pretty much I think it was MSNBC or some site, and this Latina woman, here you go, was pretty much saying that, it's useless for the Latino community, especially down in Texas by the border states, that, we're going to move, or we're tired of, we've always historically voted Democrat, but, because the Democrats are not giving what we want, we're just going to switch over to the Republicans. And, it's a little bit of nuance. And I just responded. I was like, to me, I simply said, it was like, it looks like Latinos are caping for white supremacy, because it's pretty much, you kind of look like them. You're about 1 or 2 shades a little darker than the typical white person. And it's like, they're specific. I'm not saying all Latinos, and that's why I was talking about it, because I said Latinos, and usually, how Twitter trolls get. They just want to pick apart your words and try to turn it against you. Let's say some Latinos, especially by the border states, which is, as I mentioned, in Florida, and everybody knows what I'm talking about, where they try to play themselves as being white adjacent and on a hand to white supremacy. And she was pretty much saying that she's going to vote. They're not going to give up their vote away just like that. They're just going to switch over to Republican. And I'm like, I've seen this play out before. I've seen it in real life. I've seen it in politics. I'm old enough to know what that means. There's some, I have to say, some Latinos out there that feel that they, as I said before, they're close enough to whiteness where they want to be next to whiteness. And if that means totally chucking out their everything that they believe in, or voting against their own interests, they will do it. All for white supremacy. And it is cowardly that they would do something like that, because the Republican Party as they stand today is not Republican. It's no longer the Republicans. And some people say it's almost, they have become the white supremacist party. And it is what it is. If it quacks like a duck and it walks like a duck, it's a duck, especially when it is quacking and walking the way it's been doing since January 6th. And even before that, in the last 4 years, we know what it is. And for this woman to talk about it, I take it as it being so suspect. Now, all Latinos like that. There's a lot of them that ride for the cause and ride for the people. And listen, when you try to play yourself as a water boy to white supremacy, it does not, as some people say, this job doesn't have any retirement. It does not have a retirement fund for you, because eventually you'll get used up like a sock and get pushed down. And I've seen it from personal experience, where you see those, and you see it in their eyes, you see it in the movements, where you have certain Latinos that do have anti-black racism, especially where they come from, and they feel like, well, I'm not them, so I can just squeak on by. And plus, they don't want any trouble. They're not trying to rock the boat. What they're trying to do is make sure that they plant their feet firmly into this United States soil, so they could get their citizenship, so they could do what's right for their family. And they know this, man. They know this, and they're playing right up to it. So it's sad, and I say to all those Latinos that understand and to get where they come from, and they woke, and I know that word is kind of like reused over and over again, but even the woke Latinos to know what's up, talk to your peoples, and it is what it is if you talk to them or not. But I'm saying, know that there is no retirement plan, because when you try to play that right next to white supremacy, they will use and abuse you. And then when comes time when you're all alone by yourself in the room right along with them, you turn into their water boy. You turn into to just their lapdog, and then all of a sudden now you getting the short end of the stick, you getting the shit on, you getting all those like, but yeah, now see, you try to go on all in, you try to cash in that check, and look at it bounced. That social credit check bounced, and now all of a sudden now you taking all the whippings of because you wanted to be with the next white supremacy. Now for me, it's like, even as black folk is concerned, I'm not even, everybody knows, I'm not a Democrat or a Republican, and even if I wanted to choose, if I was in those lines of the party lines, I still wouldn't obviously pick to be a part of the Republican Party, because everything that they represent, everything that they have become, everything that they have metamorphosed into the animalistic demonic beast that they have become. Yeah, I can't be a part of that. You're playing in the game, Tim Scott. So you're playing that game, and all of a sudden, when it comes down to it, when you only by yourself, all you're going to do is take the worst of the whippings, and they're going to pat you on your head, and they're going to just rub you on your back, and then they're going to push you down to your knees, and they can say, be right where I know you are. And even though they don't say it in public, in the light, on the mic, when those lights go off, when the mics go off, you are going to be their lapdog behind closed doors. So yeah, I be my guest, man. That thing was posted on September 23rd. Tez on Figueroa joined. I said my piece, and I just wanted to clarify that. And it's sad that you see some grown ass people that have two eyes, that have a brain, that have two ears. They're getting tired, and that's all well and good. If they're getting tired of the Democratic Party, well, they will go and look to the other direction and want to hop in the Republican boat. And there's no room for you. There's no room for you. And I think it's an act of desperation when you have people publicly say these things, and then you have those folks that be like, yeah, I'm Republican. I'm like, what do they do for you? What exactly do they do for you? If you can list one thing, then I'll understand. I think it's still stupid, but then I'll understand. But and they can't call it. They don't know what to say. Yeah, that'd be that. That's what that was. Yo, so Lil Uzi Vert's artist, unfortunately, LottaCash, unfortunately, she was found killed, and the police is on the search for the suspects. This broke a couple of days ago. She was killed in a triple shooting in West Houston, Texas. West Houston, excuse me, Houston. I'm sorry, I'm from New York. I said Houston. Like I'm off the block. West Houston. It happened, they say, at 3 a.m. and the car was found on the side of the road with two women that were inside the vehicle, shot multiple times. There was a third gunshot victim that was alive and was transported to a local hospital, and right now it's under investigation. I said this before, and I'll say it again, and I'll say it again. Y'all gotta stop playing. You playing that game on the mic. Here it is. The ancestors, God, Jesus, Yahweh, whoever you pray to, whoever you grew up with, they blessed you. We're having a life where now you can actually make money, have a career in music, and you can step away from the hood business. And now look at what happens. You're 1 foot out, and you still got pulled into it. Now, I don't even know. I've never heard this Uzi Vert's artist, upcoming artist, what do you call it? Music. I never heard of it. It's unfortunately, all I heard was that she got killed. Obviously, it's something that she was into that caught up to her real quick. And the haters out there, when they actually start seeing that you're making moves and you're connected to some famous people, and they see you're about to kind of like free yourself from the hood elements, that people want to drag you back down or take your life, because it's just misery, man. And I say to all these MCs, all these rappers that are young and are coming up in the game, and not all rappers get that negative energy around them, but when you do, you got to take it serious, man. And even the seasoned people, as I always said, start your own security company, know where you move, know how you move. Don't post certain things on social media where because you have a sketchy past, there's some people out there that just wants to try to take your blessings. And you just got to be more aware of your surroundings, man. Now, even look, you got to treat yourself like a political dignitary. Whether you're in the UN, you run your own country as a president, because it is too freaking hot out there And for L's to be taken when you're an artist, an up and coming artist, and all of a sudden you know, I don't know if she lived that life for real, but you know, obviously for those that are in that life and they're getting out, yo, man, you got to protect yourself and you got to start taking your career serious. And you're gonna say what you're gonna say because that was your life on record. But sometimes artists do kind of over embellish and they get deep into it, and the lines start getting blurred on what they say on record to what they lived in real life. And they're gonna be people that are gonna be listening to your record, knowing they're gonna recognize the street you just said in a bar. They're gonna recognize that coded message that you spoke about someone because they know, oh, that person's talking about such. I know, and they're gonna start getting hot because of a past altercation that took place. And next thing you know, the seed is gonna drop in their head, and they're gonna start thinking, "Man, I'm gonna take this person out." And that's how hate grows. But you got to start taking your life serious and separate the music from the streets, man. And I know that's a hard thing to do, but you got to put that in your music. Yeah, and let people know that even if you did that was your past and you're not doing that anymore. You're moving on to bigger and better things. Because I'm tired of the up and coming where they can literally take care of a whole generation, their whole community, and they get cut down because of the demons that are still at their heels as they're coming up in the business. So, you know, RIP and condolences to LottaCash's family and close friends. And it's unfortunate. Prayers to her and prayers to all of them. Ghana, man, Ghana. Shout out to Mother Africa. And I read that Ghana is having some issues. They approached the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, for economic issues that they're having in their country. At this point, I think the IMF folks are still in Ghana. They're going to leave around October 7th. Of course, they're going to be talking with the president and the economic advisors on how they're going to fix Ghana's economic woes. And Ghana is a major producer of cocoa and gold. But they've been struggling with inflation and public debt and trying to strengthen their local currency. And their payments, their balance of payments deficit is $2.5 billion. Now, I don't know if Ghana had a previous IMF deal going, but their 2.5 was 935 million in March. It doubled. It literally doubled their debt. So I don't know what's happening in Ghana. It's unfortunate, but man, let me tell you, man. And people have to be very wary on dealing with the International Monetary Fund because it has never worked out for up and coming economies, growing economies in the third world or rising economies. It has never boded well for countries that have gotten into deals because those deals only balloon over the years. And all of a sudden, your country is in debt to the IMF. Now they're going to buy your assets there. And when I'm talking about land, produce, what you produce as far as cocoa and gold, and they're going to take it because Ghana has to pay back a quote unquote debt. But that's the hook. That's the hook. They want to put you in debt so they could take your resources. That's how I've always seen it from the several articles and understanding history of countries around the world. So they're saying that the Ghana and IMF will get into a $3 billion financing deal over the next 3-year period. It will have what you call an extended credit facility program and an extended fund facility program that is going to go towards trying to get Ghana out of the economic doldrums. Man, Ghana, oh my God, Ghana, I got so much love for Ghana, and I'm not Ghanaian. I know a couple people from Ghana, and man, it's just frustrating, that to hear that this same thing is happening again, man. And Ghana, being the producer of gold, a major producer of gold and cocoa, should be not running a deficit, but running a surplus. And you gotta be smart. And I can't say that. I'm not an economist, but at the least, if you see history, you know what's happening, that it's a bad deal. It's like it's straight up mafia, man. So you run a store, and all of a sudden you know this guy that's connected in the mafia. You know the dude. You're in a tight spot. Hey, can I borrow $100,000? Man, and make a deal with the devil, man, because you owe $100,000. Next thing you know, yeah, it reminds me from back in the day when I used to work at a retail store. So the dude that I knew was a drug dealer. I met him in the store, right? So I'll make it real rough because you never know, man. I'm not gonna talk about details and all of a sudden, you know. So the dude was a drug dealer, but he also worked at the store that I worked at. I was young. I was in my 20s, and he was mad cool. The dude was mad cool. He was like, yo, whatever. And every time I saw him, he was just, yo, what's up, man? Chilling. You know, and I find out slowly, like, you know, I find out people coming to him, you know, trying to pay back. Yo, here your money, bop. So then I had to ask him. I was like, yo, my man, what's I let people borrow money, and that's when it slowly came out that my man lets people borrow money, but they got to pay it back. But also he be flipping, right? But he don't really do it. He get the youngsters to do it, right? So I'm like, cool. So then I also knew of another cat that worked there. Another dude that worked there. He was a dude. I'm not even gonna say what he did, even though it was a long time. I don't want to get into detail, right? So that dude, I found out he was on a high level. He worked for the store, and let's say he was in management. Let's put it like that, right? So it turned out that on a separate conversation, I'm talking to this dude on the side, this white dude, and he was like, yeah, I owe such and such money. I'm like, oh, word, you owe money? Yo, and he borrowed stacks. I don't know what he borrowed that money for, but it was stacks. I think it was like $20,000 or something like that. It was some real shit. So I go back to my man, right? And I'm like, yo, what's good? He was like, yo, I'm good, young blood. Of course, I'm young. I'm 20. Yo, I'm good, young blood. I'm like, yeah. So OG, what's going on? So I didn't really get into it, but he told me, he's like, you know, such and such. Yeah, that nigga owe me money. I'm like, word. I'm acting like I don't know shit. I'm like, oh, word, he owe you money. How much? I was like, yo, that's not even fun. And guess what? The payback plan was with my man. It was dollar for dollar. So if you borrow 100, you have to pay him back 200. That is crazy. Dollar for dollar. Yeah, that deal don't work out. Not even credit card companies. Not even credit card companies, guys. 18, 25% APR, whatever. But dollar for dollar. That is nuts. So my man borrowed stacks. The white dude borrows stacks. So then I'm talking with my man, and he was like, yeah, man, he better have my money, or I don't give a fuck about it. He told me, I don't give a fuck about this job. It'll happen. It'll go down right here, and I will go back to the block. I don't give a fuck. And I believed him. Yo, but yeah, he really didn't give a damn. He's like, he ain't got my money. He said he was gonna set it off right in the store. I'm like, oh, word. So I'm already getting geeked. I'm like, yo, I'm gonna see it go down. So he said, yo. So I saw him in the morning. He said, yo, he gonna have my money on this Thursday, whatever day it was, right? So I get to work, and I'm already like smiling. I'm like, is it gonna jump off, right? I think the dude, I'm not gonna say it, right? The dude that borrowed the money. So anyway, my man, I walk in, and my man is at the front of the door because he's security. So he's like, yo, what's up, young blood? So I give him daps and give him that look. Today's the day. So then the dude comes in, right? So I'm playing it off like I don't know shit, right? So I'm in the music section of the store because it's like 3 floors. So I'm in the music section, and of course, everybody know I'm in music. Of course, I was in the music department. So I'm like, putting my CDs in, trying to get everything in order. And then I'm looking at my man. I saw him come up the escalator, and I see him with the duffel bag. I was like, oh, and he was looking mad nervous. I was like, what is this? NYD New York undercover? Yo, my man. So I went back there. I pretended like I needed to shrink wrap CDs and shit. So I was like, yo, what's up, man? He's like, yeah, I got the money. Yo, my man had the toolie in the bag. I was like, yo, what's going on? He had I think if I remember correctly, he had the snub nose 38 silver. Oh man, but he had the heat. I was like, damn, what the fuck? So, but I think he borrowed like 20, so he had to give back 40, something like that. It was in like 10, whether he borrowed 10, he borrowed 20. Either way, he had to pay back double. And yo, it was serious. It was real, man. It was real. And and nothing jumped off. He gave him the money, and that was that. Whatever tight spot my man was in, he got the money, he got it up, and he paid it back. You know what I mean? And that was that. But all I like to say is that, it's just no different from between the IMF and Ghana. Ghana's in some situations. I don't know if they borrowed money before from the IMF, but they're gonna borrow $3 billion, and they're already $2.5 billion in the hole. You could see it from far away what this looked like. So my thing is, if Ghana is their back is to the wall, I see it like this. All you're gonna do is put yourself in more debt, and more debt, and more debt. The people are going to get tight because, of course, you're going to have to pass some sort of austerity measures to try to make the money back that you borrowed to get yourself out the hole. But all you're doing is digging yourself more of a hole. And now you're going to cut back on public services. You're going to, of course, there's going to be joblessness. You don't know where the money is going to come from. The people are going to get upset. And eventually, at some point, the people are going to revolt. So let's say there's pressure from the IMF and say, hey man, we got this on you, or you might not make it. What's the difference, bro? You're buying your time. When you're in a situation like that, it's either you have to make a decision. You either gonna meet your situation, the consequences of your actions now, or you're gonna deal with the consequences of your actions 5, 10. You're gonna defer that 10, 20 when things get progressively worse, and then the people start getting heated and they start getting tight. All of a sudden, you're gonna start seeing people in the streets. How you want to do this, man? How you want to do this? If that's the case, if you're back into the wall, maybe you should just throw in your chips and be like, you know what? I ain't gonna be president no more. I'll come up with something. I'm gonna dip out. You know what I mean? Because by you taking this deal, it's not gonna make things any better for you. Because if you got jackals at your door and they're gonna mess you up, you're either gonna die, or they're gonna run something on you, or then you're gonna take the money and then you're gonna squeeze the country. And in the next 15 years, the people are gonna get more tight. And all of a sudden, if you're still being the president, because there's no limits of presidency in certain countries, so I don't know if there are presidential limits in Ghana, but eventually it's gonna come to you. It's going to come back. So my thing is seeing if the president of Ghana is aware of the situation, my thing is, fuck it. I'm gonna be a warrior. This is how it's gonna happen. I'm gonna be like, nah. If they put your pressure, you could be like, yo, all right, I'm gonna dip. Or you're gonna be like, let the people know, yo, we're in a situation and it's only gonna get worse because I gotta go to the IMF, and the IMF is gonna put us in a worse situation, and they're gonna take our resources. Let the people know. Just let it out. Yo, it's a scam. It's a scheme. I'm not trying to do that for the people. This is gonna happen. And it's what it is. You chose that situation. You know what I mean? I'm not going to say it is a highly stressful. The pressure is through the roof when it comes to managing a country, and especially when managing a country, being president, it's serious game. So you stepped into that, and you got to make a decision, because all it is Ghana got its independence back in the 1960s. 1964, whatever, of course, whatever who was Ghana? Let me see right quick. Ghana Independence Day. Here. So it was, Ghana was independence from British colonial rule in 1957, right? So the British no longer control Ghana. But now how they'll work it out is, they don't have to run the country, but they'll bog you down in economic debt to the point where you have no other choice but to give in to outside forces. So that's just as bad as being under colonial rule. Now you're under economic rule from a country from hundreds of miles away. It makes no sense. So you might as well go out like a champ. This is what it is. Tell the people, let them know, and you all you're going to see is more debt. And you have to figure out, sit down with economic advisors, sit down with smart people, economists, and either you dump your currency and start new, or you got to do something. because Ghana can't keep on dragging his feet, getting pulled down even more. You're gonna celebrate Independence Day from British colonial rule, but now all of a sudden it's like nothing has changed, because now you're under the economic weight of debt from the IMF, and it's ridiculous. Ghana's the president of Ghana, please smarten up. I forgot who's the president of Ghana. Ghana president Nana Akufo-Addo. Yeah, man, he got reelected in 2020 in his second term, and it will end in January 6, 2025. And my man is 78 years old. What's up with all these elder presidents, man? Oh, man. Yo, listen, I know I don't want to be an ageist, but there's got to be a set parameter for the age, as far as ages are concerned. I think youngest to be president is 45. The oldest should be, let's say, 70. Other than that, I'm from Western society, from of course living in America. That's how I say it. Now, I don't have an issue if there are no term limits. It is what it is. If you're doing a good job, then I don't know why you should leave. Now, of course, there should be elections and let the people choose. So, even though there may be no limits to the presidency in whatever country that you're from, it's going to be based on how well you're doing it running the country. And if you're doing it really bad, the people should vote every 4 years, whatever you decide, every 6 years, and people should decide to vote you out. Or if you really doing messed up, there's no need to wait and say you're in the middle of a 6-year term. The people don't have to wait till the 6th year. There could be emergency votes or whatever. I'm like, yo, get this guy out of here. You know what I mean? So, yeah, man, Donna, I don't know. Next on the list, New York Times published an article saying that the Washington Post put out a poll saying the majority of Democrats want someone else other than Biden. Look at that. 56% want someone as opposed to 35% that would vote for him again. They ran a poll for Biden versus Trump, and like right now, if the election was now, then the numbers are pretty much the same from the last time. It's almost like a solid deadlock, man, by 1 or 2 points. And 1 or 2 points, you catch a couple in swing states and that person's the president. So it's like, again, there's a dead heat between these two, Biden and Trump. And I don't doubt that Trump is going to run, but I don't know if he's going to make it, because he's got so much people on his heels. I don't know if he's going to make it. I personally think they're going to put this pressure on this dude, because rich people don't go to jail. So I think personally they're going to put pressure on this dude, and if he continues to talk, and he continues to talk reckless. He's talking about, if they continue with what's going on, the DOJ on the top secret files, the people in America is going to revolt, and he didn't say revolt, but it's going to be the worst consequences ever from the likes of we haven't known, whatever the verbiage he used. But I'm like, again, here we go, my man talking at the side of his mouth, talking reckless. This is no different. But personally, I think they're going to put the pressure on this dude because he's going to run. Nobody wants him to run, not even the in the halls of Congress. Not even the establishment politicians want him to run, because he's a joke and he's a threat to American democracy and keeping things together. So they're going to put the pressure on him, and they're going to give him an either or. Listen, if you keep on going down this road, we got you in a dead heat, and you going to jail, we're going to take all your money. And they're going to probably be like, hey, listen, I'm saying you don't have to run, just bow out, and these things will disappear. I personally think that's what's going to happen. I really do think so. Letitia James, the New York Attorney General, basically got a Bible of a case against Donald Trump and the family. Anybody else would have been locked up. Anybody else would have been criminally charged. But this dude is still walking around, acting surprised, like, I don't know what's going on. But shout out to Letitia James, the New York AG, and I think there's someone going to come in that nobody knows who the person, and it may not be the actual individual, but it's going to be like an emissary or some dude's going to speak for that person in power. You're going to be like, hey, listen, we don't want to, I want to be a part of these talks. And all of a sudden, my man's going to sit there. He's going to push, typical movie shit. He's going to push the dossier in front of, Trump's representative, his lawyer, going to be like, listen, he should have run. And if he does run, this is what can happen. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. Biden's approval rating is like 39%. His disapproval rating is 53%. My man's low. His approval rating is super low. And polls are kind of funny because they could be manipulated, depending on the test ground, or the, what do you call it? The test pool, the polling pool. It could be, polls can take different. It could go up, it could go down. You could be in Arizona, you could be in New York, you could be in California, or in Mississippi. So, things can be skewed when it comes to polls. It's not an exact science, but his approval rating is low. And personally, I think his approval rating is low because a good part of America is like, even though I know you ain't down for these other, color folk or these Negroes, we don't like the fact that you're using them against us. That's why they don't like Biden. That's why his approval rating is so low. Okay, I'm gonna keep it real, and that's my opinion. That's what I take. Why do they not like Biden? Gas is low. They're trying to get, they're always gonna say it's going to be, it's the inflation, it's jobs, it's gas, and all these things. All these things is excuses why, like, the Republicans don't like Joe and why the voting masses don't like Joe. I personally think it's Joe Biden doesn't have any emotional connection to his voters. He uses voters like every other politician to get where they need to go, and they'll promise you up and down that I'm going to do this. And then once I get in, and they get in, and they don't do anything. But the fact is that they promise, and they use the black vote, and they use the POC vote, because what else is there? And once America is split down the middle with the white vote, and then all you have that's going to tip the scales is majority black populations in certain states, and also they're trying to get the Latino vote, which I discussed early in the show. That's kind of like tipping in another direction, but they use that vote so they could kind of squeak in. And I personally think, even though, it's the vote was separated by millions of votes. I think Trump got 75 and Biden got 82. A good portion of this country is still holding on to air all the talking points that Trump is about. And we all know what Trump's talking points are. He goes to the lowest common, low level thinking, racism. He uses that. Let me tell you something. He pulls that card every single day. And that's what he did in the last 4 years. And I don't care what people tell me as far as what Trump voters are. Well, I like him. What exactly do you like about Trump? They can't explain it to you. When people challenge them on certain things that he hasn't done, or some effed up things, all of a sudden they get stupid. They magically don't know what he did. And I'm like, oh, he's fine. Stop playing. I know what these voters are voting for. When they vote for Trump, I know what they're voting for. They're voting for him to be the great white hope, and for them somehow to save their whiteness. That's what that's about. All right. So in a sense, my thing is, that's why they go about doing those things. I mean, that's why, that's why Biden, they don't like Biden, because Biden's going to do what a politician does. He's not going to pull any punches, going to use anything at his disposal to try to get in. And he used it. He used the black vote, and he used other POC votes to squeeze in. And of course, this guy Trump was an asshole anyway. He was an idiot. And of course, he played up on that. But the people on the other side don't know that. That's why they try to disenfranchise black voters across America. Yeah, so I don't know what's going to happen in the midterms. I like I said before, I think it's not going to be as bad as far as the midterms. We'll see what happens. We get a month away. But I think that the Republicans screwed themselves on the abortion issue. But let's see if people are stupid enough. Listen, 53% of white women voted for Trump. All right. And he was talking about grabbing, private parts. I'm trying to be clear because people only got, within earshot. He's doing all this, and they still voted for him. And all his misogyny and the patriarchy and in toxic masculinity, all that stuff, and they still voted for him because he was voting for their whiteness. Got to keep that intact. So anyway, the next thing, Taiwan, man, the battleground is heating up for Taiwan. It is heating up. So there's some things that's going on with Taiwan between America and China. They're fighting over this small little island. Of course, America is talking about they want to free Taiwan from the tyranny of those damn communists in China. China is saying don't step on our grounds. That's our property because Taiwan is literally off the coast of China. That's like the Russians. That's like the Russians trying to claim Cuba, and like Cuba and the United States is like, what are you talking about? Cuba is right here. How are you going to try to claim Cuba? And that is essentially what we went through in the past, if we understand history, with the Bay of Pigs, okay, and the Cuban Missile Crisis. Same thing, except now it's on the Chinese border with Taiwan. But Taiwan, they just don't want the land just because because Taiwan is a great place like a Disney World or something like that. Taiwan is home of the country's largest semiconductor company manufacturer. The market cap for that company is called TSMC. Damn, I forgot the name of it. Let me see if I could find the name of TSMC. TSMC Taiwan. Let's see here. It is called the Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company. There you go, TSMC. Their market cap is about $425 million. They're the largest in the market. The U.S. buys up about 64% of the semiconductors that comes out of TSMC. And that was the total for last year. Now, it's much smaller for China. They run about 10 to 20%, something like that. But still, that's a considerable amount of semiconductors that China uses for various products in their homeland. So now this is a battle between, of course, who's going to control TSMC. Now, of course, as I said before on the show, that Biden actually passed the Chips and Science Act to offset the reliance on Taiwan semiconductor production, but still, in the midst of it, we're not anywhere close of being independent, making our own semiconductors. And again, the consequences of your actions. America buys, they make up 64% of the semiconductor sales out of TSMC. You think they would have said, you know what? While we are buying out these semiconductors, let's try to pass some legislation so we can have our own manufacturing here. Because again, it's the same thing what happened in the 70s with the oil embargo. When OPEC and the I forgot which country, Saudi Arabia, was beefing with America, and the Saudis, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm sorry, in the oil embargo, the Saudis, or those that were in charge, they were cutting off oil production, and all of a sudden oil was drying up in America. There were gas lines at the gas station, and everything was terrible in the 70s. So now we're kind of doing the same thing, repeating the same mistake, and America should have been on that, repeating the same mistake, not with oil, but now with semiconductors. And the United States uses for like televisions and computers, and of course the biggest hit is the car manufacturing business. When I was looking for a car, and I think it was Audi. I went to Audi, and they were saying the only cars that we have available right now is what's on the floor. And they were marking up these cars like 15, 20, 30%. Ridiculous amount, because they just didn't have the cars to meet demand. So, of course, they're raising the price. Supply and demand, the rules of economics. So now we're in this situation where literally we're at the head. So there's a lot of talk going on between China and the United States, and a lot of bluster, a lot of beating of the chest. But we're going to see how this plays out. China's saying that all possibilities as far as making sure they keep Taiwan close to them. Military is on the table. Military strategy is on the table. Everything is on the table. And now look at what's happening, right? Here's a flip. That's the other side. The United States is dealing with China and Taiwan, with Taiwan in the middle. Guess what's happening when you take a look to the right? United States is dealing with Putin and Russia and Ukraine. So Putin is threatening a nuclear offensive in a coded way in a speech he did last week, announcing the country's first wartime military mobilization since World War II. And the National Security Advisor, Jake Sullivan, said, I quote, "If Russia crosses this line, there will be catastrophic consequences for Russia." Oh, my God. The United States will respond decisively, unquote. That is a very serious statement for the United States National Security Advisor to say, Jake Sullivan. I think some of it is a little bluster, again, beating on the chest. Putin is talking up a lot. But of course, when it comes to these things, you never want to take them for face value. Even if you think that that's bad on Russia to really do something, take it to that extent, you never want to be caught with your pants down. So of course, Putin is going to say all these things and beat his chest. Now, the United States, they're beating their chest. And it's not somewhere we need to go. And I said this before, we do not need to go there. Cooler heads need to prevail. Of course, you know, the United States is wrapped up in this Ukraine thing. But when you start messing with nuclear weapons, you can't walk back from that. And that's why it's such a bad situation, what's happening between Russia and Ukraine, to the point where the other week, Russia had missiles dropped near a nuclear plant in southern Ukraine. It was damn near close. Now, they're not going to actually set off nuclear missiles, please. We don't want to go there, but it's just as bad if they decide to destroy the nuclear power plant in southern Ukraine. That's essentially using a missile, and you don't want to go there. You don't want to go there because you cannot turn back. You cannot turn back from this, because once you take some level of a nuclear offensive, the United States has to respond. That's a lot of lives lost. And if one side sets it off, the other side is most certainly going to set it off. And, you know, once they do, in whatever way that they're going to do it, a nuclear counterstrike, then that's when we're off to the races. And it is the doomsday clock ticking down to a couple of seconds to our literal annihilation. And that's a scary thing, man. I personally think he is beating his chest. Let's take away the human factor. Take away the human factor. War is bad for business. Now, companies have taken advantage of past wars between countries many decades ago, manufacturing cars, tanks, and all those things. That was for the immediate economic gain, financial gain. But when you're dealing with something when you have the nuclear option on the table and it is used, everyone loses. There's no amount of advantage or opportunity that would be best for a particular company or companies when nuclear option is on the table or when the nuclear option is chosen. Everybody loses. You can set off a dirty bomb and when I say a dirty bomb, they say they would use spent uranium rods, attach it to an actual bomb, set it off in a high dense population, and that in itself is just as bad as a nuclear missile. And it is, because you're not so much of exposing the people to radiation and the whole city evacuate, but the psychological effects has much more impact than the actual radioactive impact in a 5-block radius. And it doesn't have to take out you don't have to destroy half of Manhattan. Oh my God, I hate to say it, but I'm going to be real. Manhattan is a prime target. With saying any city, you don't have to destroy half a city like in the movies. You could just set off something in a 5-block radius and psychologically you can psychologically destroy an entire city just by doing that. You think 9/11 was bad? Everyone will evacuate the city and they will never come back, because we understand in order for radiation to go down to normal levels, of course, everybody knows what happened in Chernobyl in Russia. They're saying it would take hundreds of years for human occupancy to happen in that immediate area again. And Chernobyl is still an abandoned city in Russia. It was actually a documentary called Documentaries on Chernobyl, and I saw it on YouTube, and they were fully suited with the rad, I think it's the rad meter, I think is what it's called. and it was so eerie and ghostly, and it was just empty blocks, empty communities, empty schools, empty businesses, everything just full of dust, everything left as it was, and it's still empty, and they were fully suited, and the Raz was taking, and it's like everyone loses if the nuclear option is on the table. And even if it's a small shrapnel of spent uranium, an entire city will forever be a ghost town. And here's, that's not even a worst case scenario. The worst case scenario is the entire economy will collapse. The entire economic system, global economic system, will collapse, because we are all interconnected with our economies, our trade. China trades with Russia. Russia trades with, Argentina. Argentina trades with Africa. Africa trades with United States. United States trades with England. We live in a global society. And if something on that level were to happen, oh my God, it will be anarchy. Do you understand? Because ships are not going to take the product, produce or whatever manufacturing items over to the next country. Nothing will come in, nothing will come out. People would be afraid to shop. There's no shopping that's going to happen. That's gone. Because if something like that happens, people are not thinking of shopping. What do you think people are thinking of? People are thinking of survival. So they're not thinking about what they're going to get at Amazon or what are they going to pick up at Target. It will be survival. And there's going to be certain parts where it's going to be like, if you've seen the trailer for The Last of Us, a famous video game. I just saw the trailer. Hopefully that movie works out. I'm a big fan, but that's for another conversation. It will be like The Last of Us, or it will be like The Walking Dead. Guaranteed. This is not something you want to play with. So, the United States is stuck between a rock and a hard place. No lie. They got, on one end, they have China and Taiwan, and on the other end, they have Russia and Ukraine. And they're right in the middle. And you got to have a person that's skilled in diplomatic talks. They know how to deal with this with a level head. They're going to try to get through this with the minimum. We can stay far and away from the nuclear option. That's a scary thing. Okay, the last thing, a couple things before we get out of here. So, okay, Black Adam tickets, man. I'm waiting for Black Adam. Let's do a little bit of light work here. Let's bring up the joy here. So Black Adam tickets. It's official. Henry Cavill is back. You know what I mean? I know he's going to be back. Either he's going to be in the movie or he's going to be in end credits. There's going to be some sort of interaction conflict between Henry Cavill's Superman and Black Adam. And of course, there was a TV spot that played. Black Adam said, "There is no one from this planet that can stop me." Of course, that is teasing people to say, yo, who is he talking to? The only person, it may not be on Earth, but the only other person that's not from Earth that can stop Black Adam is, of course, who? Kal-El. All right. So many sources have said that Henry Cavill is going to be back as Superman. There was a tweet from Boss Logic, the company that makes concept art for Black Adam. They said there was a simple animation, and it was posted several days ago, where Black Adam is in a fight with Superman. He's like crashed to the ground with things. He's almost like a meteor, pit, whatever. He's in there, and it's a simple animation. And of course, it pans out, and you see Superman floating above Black Adam with the cape waving. And of course, it's Henry Cavill, the back of Henry Cavill's head. So again, why did they tweet that unless they were trying to put a hint out there? So personally, I think Henry Cavill is back. That says that the Snyderverse is still intact. Of course, they say it's canon now. So all the original players are coming back, and I'm looking forward to it. Let's get this story right. As I said before, when we was talking about Discovery going through a merger or buying the WB, but of course not to rearrange things, just to get things in their way. When they said it, at the time they wanted a 10-year plan, kind of like what Marvel was doing, but moreover to set up to sell it again off the NBC Universal. So in whatever hands that it's in, the WB, the DCEU, The people that are running these brands have to understand that they have it in hand. They have it in hand. And The Rock is trying to, of course, he's putting himself in the middle. He wants to be the great antagonist that wants to fight Justice League. That's the talk for Black Adam to fight Justice League. You have it in your hand. He doesn't have to. Of course, you can still have Darkseid. Zack Snyder does not have to be director if there's a Jail 2, a Jail 3, whatever other director that can have a similar look, feel that what Zack Snyder did with his the Snyderverse. It's all set up. You cannot be an idiot. You cannot be an idiot how this is going. I'm gonna buy tickets early. As soon as they pre-sale, I'm buying them up. The fam's going. I'm going. It's gonna be I gotta see this. I gotta witness this. You know what I mean? Yo, I've seen the second trailer. I'm geeked. I am geeked. I'm waiting for it. So let's see what happens. Last bit before we go. Oh man, a couple things. Connected to that, Ezra Miller. There was a thing with Ezra Miller. I saw. Shout out to E-Man, the movie reviewer. He actually spoke about it, and there was an article with in Vanity Fair where something else comes out where Ezra Miller is saying that he has a compound. He calls it the Mountain. I'm not going to spend too much time on this. So the article is talking about where the people that he was quote unquote holding was saying that Ezra Miller was on this Messiah trip. And that the Flash character, he's telling people to put down their phones on the altar, quote unquote altar, before they go into the compound. And where they're putting down their phones, he has little figures, Flash figures, nearby on this altar. And then he's talking about how he's wrapping up the Flash image and character in with his Messiah. Look, this guy, let me tell you something. Even if all of this is not true, Discovery, Zaslav has got to distance themselves from Ezra Miller. This is what happens when you don't properly deal with this situation and it was going off the rails before. Now you have more information from people that dealt with Ezra Miller. It's talking about this guy he thought he was a Messiah, and now he's literally taking DC property, a character that's meant for the kids, has been in the comics for decades. They came out with the movie. You finally have a Flash movie. Finally. Now you give it to a guy, Ezra Miller, and he's literally wrapping it up and conflating these two images. This guy he needs help, and that's fine. This guy needs medical help. Let him get some help. But this is not good for the brand. Because I told you this on the show before. I already was over Ezra Miller. And when this Flash movie come out, when they said they still going to keep it intact, I can't see myself sitting down in that theater and not having my stomach turn, because all I'm going to think, you're taking me out of my fantasy, right? I want to see Barry. I want to see the Flash. And all I'm seeing is the effery that Ezra Miller is doing and whatever cult that he's starting. That's all I'm seeing. And now because you're trying to save the film and you're trying to say, yeah, don't worry about it, we're still going to put out the film. Okay, you want to do this. Now this story comes out and now they're saying these people that Ezra was holding is saying all this stuff. And this is where you look. They already said that this was going to be his last movie. He's not going to be the Flash anymore. Because he was in it for so much. It was like, hey, I guess they were trying to get the best out of the film, all right, and they just put the film out, and then we'll just change him, Ezra Miller. But now he's literally threatening even for this movie to make any money, even with this. And I said early on, just dump the whole movie, just throw it away like you threw away Batgirl, take the L. But no, of course they put $200 million into it. They just don't want to just toss it, right? But now look at this. I don't even know if I want to watch the movie no more with everything that's coming out. I'm serious. Like I said, if it's a lie, you still don't want to be caught anywhere close to Ezra Miller. He should be literally kryptonite in the DCU in a way of saying it. Ezra Miller is literally kryptonite to the WB, to the DCEU. And hey, man, whatever the execs choose to do ain't going to be good. That movie is not going to make money. I am telling you. It is DOA. because all people going to see is all this stuff that Ezra's doing. I'm telling you. Anyway, last thing. Remember Versus? That was a hot thing at one point. And I said, I read an article that Timbaland and Swizz won the lawsuit. I heard about the lawsuit that they had against Triller for failure to pay them according to the deal. Triller had to pay them $28 million. I didn't even know Triller had that type of money because they just come out. So, hey man, I always thought that Timbaland and Swizz should have never sold Versus to Triller. I thought it was a bad idea because the way Triller turned out was Versus turned out to be like openers for Box. Triller was like, it's called Fight Night. I think they're a deal with this Fight Night. It's like it's a streaming channel that streams. It's a fighting streaming channel, and Versus was turning out to be openers for these fights. And I'm like, nah, Versus ain't no opener for no fights. It's a standalone. It could be a music festival if need be, and you could tie in the old school with the new school. I thought that was a worse deal for Timbaland and Swizz to make. I don't even know why they got wrapped up in this. Now look what happens. They sold the company, and they're having problems on getting paid. I think they could have went a whole lot further if they just took the time to just build the company, build it, and then if they no longer want to do it, pass it off to someone that you feel pass the reins. But this is a constant thing that always happens when something is created in black hands. I'm gonna keep it real. I have to say it. And it always, when it's sold to someone outside, because business is business, I get it. If people really like the brand, whoever you're selling to, they're going to keep it alive. But time and time and again, when these brands get sold, it just turns shitty, man. And of course, Timbaland and Swizz wasn't getting paid. They finally got their check, and that's why we haven't really seen Versus for a while. But now you dealing with all these headaches because you sold it. Hey man, I saw that was a bad move. As soon as I saw them, when they sold it, I was like, that's it. And maybe they didn't want to deal with Versus anymore. Maybe that was just like a quick thing because of the situation with the pandemic, and it was like, hey, we got this thing, we blew it up, it's something, all right, we'll just sell it. They took it as a property, but now look at it, it is what it is, right? Man, all right, folks, I am out of here. I'm gonna take a shower. I'm gonna see if I can bake some chicken. I'm gonna throw it in the pan, and then I'm gonna go to do some other things, and then go to bed. So thank you guys for listening to me. I'll see you next week, and I'm out, yo. All right, peace.
Yo, check it.
You just listened to GCOM Radio, powered by Lyfeblood.com for the global community.
We worldwide, baby.
See you in the next go round. From right here to your town, we out.